each step that they take or each milestone that they hit, you say a little goodbye. I remember when they went into started kindergarten, that first day that they went on the bus or that you dropped them off at school for the day, that was like a big kind of saying goodbye to a chapter. And when they started middle school and high school, when they got their driver's license, like first dates, all of these things is like a chance for us to say goodbye and mourn a little bit. But I think that last few days of high school and then graduation really is like a bit of a mourning and saying goodbye to a very big chapter and closing the door on all of those things with your child really completely dependent on you and under your roof, you kind of being in more control. Because after that, regardless of whether they stay at home to go to school or they stay at home or they're working or whatever that looks like after that phase of high school, certainly if they move away for college, everything starts to change because you can't control them like you once did. You don't parent them the same. They're becoming independent. They're living their own life. They're going to start doing their own thing. And so it becomes, I think it kind of hits you over the head when you see them walk across that stage. And I am not going to lie for Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Life After Kids with Doctors Brooke and Lynn. I'm Dr. Brooke. Thank you so much for being here again today, ladies. You will notice, well, you may notice if you are watching this versus listening, that I am actually on my own, and this is Life After Kids with Doctors Brooke and Lynn, but today it's just Dr. Brooke, which is a little out of the ordinary for us because almost always Dr. Lynn and I are on here gabbing together and talking about all things life beyond motherhood and what that looks like for us as we step into our 40s, 50s, and beyond, and we have our kids being raised. And if she's not on, I've had a couple guests on as well. She and I have interviewed together or I've interviewed on my own, but this is a first for me to pop on here and do a podcast episode on my own. But it just life and timing and how things played out, and things are happening for me in real time and that involve the kids and them getting older. And I just thought that it would be a good opportunity with Dr. Lynn so busy with senior graduation and high school and last of the dance competitions and things like that. There would be a good opportunity for me to come on and just share with you from my life and some things that are happening, because I'm guessing that many of you are either going through similar things right now or you have gone through them. And so I think it's worth having the discussion with you. And so what I wanted to talk about was kind of twofold, because I'm sitting here and you may or may not know, I have 3 boys, but my oldest 2, I've got one still in the house. He's in high school. The other 2 are both in college, and they went to college back-to-back years. So I have a sophomore and I have a freshman who both just came home. And so, we're heading into Memorial Day weekend. I'm guessing that many of you that have, probably almost all of you actually, that have college students have your kiddos home and under your roof again. I think it's kind of late unless they're maybe doing some spring sports competition type things. Otherwise, they're all probably home. And so I just wanted to talk through, what does that look like? How is it going for everybody? How it's going for me? My kids have been home for just about 2 weeks, just about enough time for the honeymoon phase to be over and us to move into like real life with adults that are still kids under the same roof and how you navigate that. But also I thought it would be a good chance to kind of just talk through them. It's been very recent that they both left. Like I said, Andrew, my middle son, went last summer. He was a freshman this year, and Anthony the year before him. So it's not too long ago that I had the first of saying goodbye to them, and the first launching, and then the second launching of the kid right behind them. And so what that looks like. And I'm just hoping to give some hope and just some understanding to any of the moms that are listening that have high school seniors, or maybe are going to have a high school senior next year and the year or 2 to come, and just thinking about what that's going to look like for you as that happens, because it is a big deal. So there I was, 2 years ago, at this time with Anthony. He was a lacrosse player in high school. And so there were many things going on at once, because not only were we going through my goodness, high school itself is almost over. And we were saying goodbye to that chapter, but we were also finding ourselves in the last days of sports competition in high school, and of course senior parent day, and then we had the lacrosse banquet and all of those things. And it was such a busy time, I'm sure as many of you can relate. And I remember it like fondly, but also like, whoa, what a whirlwind, because it was just so busy. And I think I've seen memes go around that are actually kind of funny. They're like, the month of May is a mom is thought to have no job, no life, nothing else going on except her kids, something to that effect. And I think to some extent that is true. I remember even when the kids were little, like May is just a crazy time of year. And then they squeeze Mother's Day in there, and it's like the sports don't stop and the activities don't stop. And there's really no time to even catch your breath. And I think that senior year, that can be even a little bit worse, because it's just everything is ramping up, and you have your normal busyness, you have extra busyness, and then on top of that you're trying to manage all of these emotions of, you know, nostalgia and saying goodbye to your kids' childhood. And even though we've been doing that along the way, you know, with I think with each step that they take or each milestone that they hit, you say a little goodbye. I remember when they went into started kindergarten, you know, that first day that they went on the bus or that you dropped them off at school for the day, that was like a big kind of saying goodbye to a chapter. And when they started middle school and high school, when they got their driver's license, like first dates, all of these things is like a chance for us to say goodbye and mourn a little bit. But I think that last few days of high school and then graduation really is like a bit of a mourning and saying goodbye to a very big chapter and closing the door on all of those things with your child really completely dependent on you and under your roof, you kind of being in more control. Because after that, regardless of whether they stay at home to go to school or they stay at home or they're working or whatever that looks like after that phase of high school, certainly if they move away for college, everything starts to change, because you can't control them like you once did. You don't parent them the same. They're becoming independent. They're living their own life. They're going to start doing their own thing. And so it becomes, I think it kind of hits you over the head when you see them walk across that stage. And I am not going to lie to any mom who's listening. And maybe I'm just a little bit dramatic, and that could definitely be said. I have big emotions and I wear them on my sleeve, but that summer before Anthony went, he was the first one, was really, really difficult for me. And I talk about it in previous episodes, and I'll actually be sure to link them for you so that you can go back and watch them. Those will be in the newsletter. Hopefully you're signed up for the newsletter. If you're not, reach out to us and let us know, and I'll add you to the list. But I will link that podcast episode because it was happening in real time, and you'll be able to listen to that if you would like. But I just felt like the rug was swept out from under me. I tried to somewhat to no avail to kind of compartmentalize, and I just didn't want to feel all the feelings too soon. So in June, we were planning for a trip. We all went to Portugal for the summer together, and Dr. Lynn and her family joined us. I remember talking to some moms in June and them saying, oh, we've bought everything for the dorm. We've got like the packing list all set. Everything is ready to go. And I said, nope, I don't want any of that right now. I want to enjoy the time that is in hand. I want to be present. I want to go on this trip. I don't want to think about my son leaving. I just want to enjoy summer and my time with him. And that's what I did, right or wrong. That's what I ended up doing. And I waited until towards the middle of July, after the 4th for sure, but middle of July to the end of July to start to get things together for him and us to start to work on his packing list and all of those things, and then really start to think about him moving. And in some regards, that was good because the first part of summer really was just a lot of fun and kind of carefree. But in some ways, maybe not so good, because when I did focus, there wasn't a lot of time left to think about it. And it just hit me really, really super hard. And you know, the days leading up to him leaving, it was really very emotional and tumultuous for me. Leaving him, dropping him off at school, a lot of moms, I remember them telling me that the most difficult thing was the drive home after you drop your child off at college campus. And that was somewhat true for me. I found that it wasn't so much the getting in the car and leaving. I think that's because with Anthony, we had stayed for, I think, 3 or maybe even 4 days because there was a lot of things going on. He was playing lacrosse in college, and there were a lot of team things going on and meetings that we had to do. But I would encourage you, at least for me, this is one tip that I have. If you are taking and dropping off a child in college in the fall, or towards the end of summer, think about not spending a ton of time there because it was like, just for me, it was too much. It was too much of all the feelings, too much of like, it was like a slow rip of the band-aid off. It was just like on my mind that it was weighing on me the whole time I was there. Oh my gosh, I've got to leave. I got to leave. It was like this big build up. And I think in some ways for us, it would be better if we got there, moved them in, did the things we need to do, stayed a night or two, and then left and just ripped the band-aid off. And on top of that, listen, hopefully your kid is in a spot where they're super excited to be there and ready. And if that's the case, even if it's not the case and they're like a little bit nervous and concerned, the best thing for them is likely for you to go and let them start to do all of the orientation things and really start to bond with their roommate and meet people and not spend their day and their dinners and their things with you. Let them start at that right away. Both of the colleges that my kids went to in the days leading up to the first day of class, from move in for freshmen on, there were plenty of activities planned. And I feel like if I had stayed too long, my child may have run the risk of missing out on a lot of that. So as hard as it may be, trust me when I say it's easier, I think, for them and for you, if you plan on only staying a few days and then getting back home. And so for me, I think the drive back was easier because I had been there for so long that I had so many emotions that I just needed to get back to my routine. And I was happy to kind of get back, see my other kids, and try to start focusing on what was ahead instead of staying in the moment of, oh my gosh, I'm saying goodbye to my child. He's not going to be sleeping under my roof anymore. So the hard thing for me was actually when I walked in the door of my house. I wasn't prepared for how hard it would hit me emotionally. Fortunately, my two best fur dogs, Bristol and London, met me at the door. And so I spent some quiet time with them. And I took the time and made time to, that evening, just be gentle and gracious with myself. I took a nap with one of my dogs. I had a nice hot bath that night with some magnesium salt. And I had some really good cries. And the reason why I'm telling you this is not, I hope if you're listening and you're a senior mom or a mom of high school kids thinking about this, that you're not listening this and it's not giving you a sense of foreboding, because that's not what I want. But the reason why I say this is because I just want you to know it's okay to feel those feelings, and it's also very normal. Almost all of us do. If you're not feeling that and you're excited, that's okay too. We all do things differently. There's no right or wrong way to do this, but I would say the majority of us are probably feeling those hard feelings, especially with the first one. And so I would just encourage you to feel those feelings. Don't keep it bottled up inside. Don't push it down. Share it with your spouse if you have one. Take the time to cry and to be emotional when you need to be. Take the time for good self-care, like I suggested with a hot bath and the magnesium salt, or maybe it's a nice long walk or nap during the day. Like whatever it is, it doesn't make you weak to feel your emotions and to be a little bit sad. I think that there's such a push for us to just put on a happy face and push through. And I know, at least for me, I get this sense of like, oh, I can't feel these feelings because I don't want to stay here. I don't want this. I don't want my life to look this way. This is like a sign of weakness. I don't want to end up really sad. I don't want to be depressed. I don't this or that. Feeling your feelings and being sad and taking even a day to be sad doesn't mean that you're going to stay that way. And in fact, it's very often easier to get to the next place, to get through to the healing and to the place of joy, if you take the time to feel your emotions, to feel your pain, to feel your sadness, to feel your grief, to feel your mourning, whatever that looks like for you. It's okay to feel that. Don't feel like you have to stuff it down. And I would encourage you to some extent, with my husband, and I'm going to stereotype here, but I'm not sure that men and dads feel it the same way we do. And so you may have a spouse that's like, what are you doing? It's fine. They're going to be home in just a month or two, or like, put a smile on your face, or just don't understand or sort of blow off what you're going through. I would say don't hold it against them. Men tend to be wired differently than women, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Again, I am stereotyping. It doesn't mean that the way they're handling it is wrong, but it also doesn't mean that you have to be minimized or that you shouldn't feel the way you are feeling. And so either give them a heads up and let them know how you're feeling, and let them know up front, like, listen, this is hard on me. This is already hard on me. I'm just hitting graduation. I know it's going to be tough for me every once in a while through the summer, likely when we drop off our child. I'm just giving you a heads up so that you can give me the space to feel the way I want to feel. And please, don't minimize me because minimize me or minimize my feelings because that hurts my feelings. One of the best things that you can do to get through these times in any difficult time with your spouse or with your kids or whoever it is, friends, is to be a good communicator. Communicate your feelings. I think that when it comes to being a parent and when it comes to be a spouse, a lot of times we run into struggles or difficulties because we expect the other person, whether it be our kids or our spouse, and sometimes even our friends, to know how we feel or know what we need. And that's not necessarily fair, right? It's easy for us to just close off or close up and not speak and just expect them to know it and be a passive aggressive, where we don't give them the benefit of the doubt of expressing how we're feeling and letting them know up front, this is how I feel and this is what I need. So don't, and it makes it that much easier. And that doesn't make you, crappy person. That doesn't make you high maintenance. It doesn't make you drama, whatever label that we tend to want to give that. It just makes you a good communicator, and it makes you sure enough of yourself and self-aware enough to know what it is that you need in those times so that you can sort of cut it off at the head before it gets too bad or too big, and you can get the support that you need in the way in which you need it. It's okay to advocate for yourself during that time, and it's okay for you to feel your feelings. I would say for me, when my first son went and I was having a hard time, I really did try to not show those feelings of sadness and grief in front of him. And I do think that that's a really important thing. And maybe not for everyone because everybody's relationships are different, but I didn't want my son to I just didn't want him to feel sadness. I didn't want my emotions to take anything away from the excitement that he was feeling. And if he did, and Anthony is not the kid to really, he's always been a leader. He's always been a little bit ahead of the curve. He was ready to go to school. So I didn't have any concern about him being super nervous or not sure that he wanted to go or whatever, some other kids struggle with. But you may have a child that's like that. And the last thing that you want to do is make them feel more nervous or more anxious or more unsure because they see you having a hard time. Now, that's not something I usually say because very often in most other aspects of my life and with my husband, we've been pretty open with our kids on what's going on and how we're feeling. And we talk through big and heavy things in front of them. We talk through even financial decisions we make in front of them. We don't typically keep things from them because I feel like, and we've said this before, kids learn best by watching you than by what you say. And by them watching you go through hard things and feel your feelings and make tough decisions or make whatever decision it is, they're learning how to do that in their own life. But in this particular case, when it's about them, and the feelings you're feeling over them leaving home, it might behoove you and them to sort of shelter them from that to some extent. So there were times where, and I will just let you know that the emotions just would wave over me like out of nowhere. I can remember being out to dinner with my family maybe 2 or 3 weeks before Anthony was leaving for school. And it just started to well up, just sitting there thinking about like, gosh, she's leaving in 3 weeks. So, our family dynamic is changing, all these things. And I could feel the tears coming, and I just got up and excused myself. I went to the bathroom. I actually went outside, walked around the parking lot a couple times, took a few deep breaths, gathered myself, shed a couple tears, wiped up my face, and then I went back in. So it's okay. Like, it's okay to feel that way. And it's okay to take the time to breathe and to recompose yourself. So just be aware of that, I think, is the really important thing. And after your child leaves, be prepared, have some self-care in place. I would strongly advise that. I would strongly advise starting to talk now and think about maybe planning a girls' weekend or a weekend trip with your spouse or something shortly after you drop your child off at school so that you have something to look forward to, a bit of a reset for you, in a way to have some joy and some fun after what will be a really likely hard few days. And so with Anthony, when he went to school, we had planned we were going to be in Vegas for a work trip, and Lynn was there. We went to see Adele in concert. We had a lovely time. Andrew, I can't remember. Andrew was my second one. He was a little bit easier. We had planned for Lynn's 50th birthday, so I had trips and travel coming up there. I think we also went to Florida, actually went to Boca for a weekend trip. And so there's always something. And I have a girlfriend, a close friend of mine who doesn't live in my town. I'm in New England. She lives in Michigan, but her son, her first, is graduating this year, and she is just all in. Maybe the best mom I know, all in on her kids, and was a stay-at-home mom, and just she has lived her life for her kids, and is just such a fabulous, fabulous woman. But I reached out to her a couple months ago and said, "Okay, where are we going? After you drop Jack off, let's make a plan. Whatever it is that you want to do, whatever's going to light you up, wherever you want to go, whatever you want to do, big or small, I'm here for it. Just let me know. Let's plan a trip that we can take just to get you through a tough time and to have something to look forward to." So if you're listening and you're not the mom, maybe you've already been through this or it's not coming for you for a couple years, but you have moms or women in your life that are going through this right now, be the friend that reaches out and makes a plan with them to do something. If you guys can't afford to take a weekend trip, plan an event, go to a concert together, have something that you do shortly after your child goes to school so you can have it to look forward to. Okay. I didn't realize I would spend so much time on that, but I hope it was helpful. I really wanted to talk too about the kids coming home. So let's shift to that, because now I've kind of given you a view of what it looks like when your child leaves. And if you are the mom that children have already left and they're coming back, I hope you stuck around to listen, because we're shifting to that. And this is an interesting, first of all, I just want to say to the moms, let me back up for a second, because to the moms who, their kids are getting ready to leave for the first time, and you're just stuck in the thought pattern of your life is never going to be the same, and you know the kids are leaving home and your childhood and you're going to miss them and they're never going to be back, all of those things, which I'm not minimizing because I felt them all. Let me just tell you that they don't really actually leave. So I just talked through all these heavy feelings and emotions, but honestly, ladies, when I think about that first year and all of the tears that I shed and all the emotional angst that led up to him leaving and all the things that I had in place, I have to honestly say it was like I dropped him off, and then fall break happened. And Anthony was a little more difficult because he was at a Division I school and he was a sports player, so he couldn't really get home. But I saw it with the second one. And I heard this from other friends, like, you think that it's going to be terrible, but like you take them to school and then all of a sudden it's parents weekend, and you're there visiting them, and a few weeks later it's fall break in their home, and then a few weeks after that it's Thanksgiving, and then it's Christmas, and you have a whole month to 6 weeks with them, and before you know it, freshman year is flown by. And it really is true. I mean, it's amazing how fast it does go, and it's like you blink your eye and they're back in the house. Like, you just start to get used to them being away and getting into your new routine, and then they're back home again. And so they don't really, like, over the next 4 years, I think, and I haven't been there yet, but the harder part will be when they move, like actually move out into their apartment or they get married or whatever it is. But, you know, I just want to encourage you, if your kids are just starting out in college or they're in college, you have a good 4 years of them really, you're still parenting them and they're still under your home. And in some ways, I look at it now like it's the best of both worlds, because um, you have them, you get to see them regularly and you're still parenting them, you're still touching base with them, but you're also starting to get some free space, some more time to focus on yourself and to have more self-care and to watch the things you want on TV in the evening in quiet, or to make the meals you and your husband specifically want, not worry about what other people are eating. Those aren't selfish things. It's just kind of luxuries that we didn't have when they were at home. And so, you know, in some ways, it's the best of both worlds, to some extent. And, you know, there's other positives with them leaving too that I would just want to touch on with you that I didn't even see coming. So, for example, my middle son, he pledged a fraternity, and he's at a school that has big football. He's at TCU. So being able to go and sort of do college with him and go to the football games and go to the tailgates have been so fun. And you meet a whole new set of friends, which is amazing. If any of you moms from the Delt group at TCU are listening, they are such amazing women. And I didn't know this about fraternities. I didn't have an experience with it. Maybe this is more a Southern thing, but there's a mom's weekend that they do, you guys. It's like in the spring. So in April, they had a mom's weekend. The fraternity planned the whole thing. We went and we had like awesome dinners with the boys. They had a mom, father, a mother-son pickleball tournament. They took us out to the bars with them. We went like dancing. We went to karaoke. We were out watching college basketball with them. We had meals together. I mean, I can't tell you. I got to know my son in a whole new way and just see him flourishing with his friends and to see him, it just was amazing. Like my heart was so full when I left that weekend. And not only that, but meeting and connecting with these moms. And you're connecting with them like you did through high school and in the school years, because the common denominator is your kids. But it's a whole new level because you're sharing with them like, oh, the kids have moved out of the house, you're walking the same path with them. They're at the same place and they might be far from home together, and you live in different countries, so you get to connect that way and learn about their lives. That was just it's been a really sweet piece to the college puzzle that I didn't see coming. Even just getting to bond a bit with my son's roommate's mother. It's just been really, really nice. We have a text string now, and we've got the profile picture of each of the mothers is us with our son, so we can keep track of who's who. And there's a group text chat that goes on. And so I would encourage you to do those things and to look forward to those things. It's a really great opportunity for new connection and friendship. Dr. Lynn and I talk a lot about how important that is in this phase of life, not only for emotional health, but for vitality and longevity, those connections. So keep that in mind too. And you might just make some friends that don't live near you that would be great people to travel with and to go visit. That was a really sweet thing too for me to just see. That was such a great thing. Let me see here. I just wanted to see if I was missing any positives, and I don't think that I am. I guess the other positive actually would be it's just such a great positive thing as well to see your child learn to be independent and to really start to flourish on their own. I mean, can we just take a moment for that? As much as we talk about feeling sad that our kids are grown and some of the struggles we go through, can we take a moment for the positive of seeing them flourish and learn to be on their own and learn new things, and have them call you and talk about, what they're experiencing and what their friends are doing and what they learned in class and what they're thinking about for their future. It's just such an exciting time. And I think it's shown me that we don't stop parenting. We're just parenting them in new ways. And in some ways, it's more fun because we can really start to relate to them on an adult level. So I view that as a real positive as well about them going to college. So mamas, if you're saying goodbye to your kids and it's senior year for you, hold on to those positives in that as well. And like I said, as we are sad to see them go, but remembering that they come back sooner than you think, let's talk about that, because now I've got the two boys back home. They came back into the house within the same week of each other. And there is definitely a honeymoon phase where it's all puppy, at least for me, puppies and rainbows. And we're all so happy to be back together and under the same roof. And we're all best friends and life is good again. And listen, I feel that way pretty much through all summer. I'm not negating it. Please don't write to me and say that I'm a bad mom or something like that. But there is a honeymoon period, and I'm here to tell you that I'm almost 3 weeks in, and the honeymoon period is just about over, because you forget about the mess that they make and the cooking that they do. And they don't, even if they do clean up, they probably don't clean. Maybe I'm just saying this because I'm a boy mom. I don't know. I think some of my girl mom friends say differently, but at least for me, even when they do clean up, it's not the way you would clean up. The laundry builds up. Don't get me started about the way that their rooms look that were so clean for so long. And then comes the bickering with each other and just time that you started to, I think, value for yourself, right? Maybe that's in the evening when you're watching your show on TV in the family room, or maybe that's if you have a space that you work out in your home where you did your workouts, or, your quiet mornings with your coffee, all of a sudden that doesn't look the same because they're up and they're having their breakfast too. And they're making noise and they're watching their TikTok and they might be wanting to exercise. It happened to me this morning. I had like three things in a row happen. And please don't get me wrong, because I'm so happy that they're home. And I remind myself of that, like that I'm so glad. And this is a fleeting time as well. but I had just dropped my younger son at college. I came back. I had not eaten yet, so I was still fasting. And I walked in the door thinking, oh, I'm going to brew my first cup of coffee, ready to have my breakfast, check some emails because I had already done my morning routine with my outdoor time and my stretching and my Bible reading before I'd taken my son. So I was ready to hit the ground running. And I walk in, and there are my two dogs waiting for me along with my oldest son. Literally waiting for me at the door. And I was like, Anthony, what's going on here? Are you, as actually, I talked to him like my dogs. I was like, oh, hi, little boy. How are you? Are you so happy to see mommy? Which, by the way, he did not appreciate, but it was kind of fun. Anyway, he was waiting to get an adjustment. Most of you know I'm a chiropractor, so I have a chiropractic adjustment table in a downstairs space in our gym. And so he was waiting literally for me to come in so that I could adjust him. And then once his brother knew he was getting adjusted, his brother came down. And by the way, I'm so grateful that they are concerned about their health and their bodies and they want to get adjusted, and I'm happy to do it. But you realize in those moments that your kids are back and your time is not your own. They come first. And so there was a total wrench thrown into what I was getting ready to do. That was fine. It's just learning to be adaptable again, right? It's like, again, the honeymoon period's over and all of a sudden, oh yeah, this is what life with all the kids at home are like. And the kids come first and your time is not always your own. Same thing happened when I went to exercise. Andrew's exercising and he's got his rap music blasting and we're arguing over who gets the stereo and, you know, those types of things. I'm sure you can also relate to them going out at night. And, you know, when they're in college, they're out, I'm sure, to all hours, but they're not right under our roof. We don't know that it's happening. We do worry, but it's not happening in real time. But they come home and they go out. You know that they're out. You're expecting them home. You're not sure when they're coming home. And that can be tricky, especially if they're coming home late at night. And then it's difficult for them because they're used to not having to answer to you and they're used to going out and doing what they want. So there's this push and pull again that we have to fall into as they come back into the house. And I'm sure a lot of you can relate. And it can get a little tricky. And I mentioned also, you know, their bedrooms, and this is kind of like an ironic topic because I've done reels and posts and I've talked about how the empty bedroom was one of the hardest things for me. And I think probably a lot of you can relate because in the posts I've done, you've said the same thing. Like walking past that empty bedroom is just gut wrenching. I mean, I would have to shut the door and just keep it shut because it was so hard for me to see that their rooms were empty and they weren't there. But now I'm keeping their bedroom doors shut for a whole new reason. It's because it looks like a tornado went off in their room and it's a total disaster, which I'm neat, like I need things to be clean and neat. So it drives me nuts. So the door is shut now just to ignore their mess. So there's that too. It's all these little things that we have to adapt to. And, you know, these are first world problems. Again, like, thank goodness that we have our kids that we have. Some parents, some women don't have them. Some parents have lost kids. I mean, we're lucky to have these things happening. We're lucky to have our kids under our roof. I totally get that. And I don't want to minimize what other people have been through. It's real. This is just real things that I think happen to us as moms. And it's okay to talk about it and to laugh about it a little bit. It helps, you know? So I think the biggest thing is here is like, let me just give you some tips for how I'm navigating this time with them at home and trying to make the most of it. And hopefully it'll help you too. Number one, like I said, here's the way I'm handling their mess. Now listen, tell me I'm a bad mother if you want, but I was not the person that made them do all their laundry when they were in the house. I was not the person that made them keep their rooms completely clean. And I probably should have done that. I should have started that earlier. Yes. Now I'm kind of kicking myself. But here's the thing. I feel like that ship has sailed. You've heard me talk in other podcasts, perhaps, about how senior year for my son, I tried to fight with him about getting him to keep his room clean so I could prepare him for life and for being a husband. And all we ended up doing was fighting and having stress. And I just finally let that go. And also, P.S., I've seen their dorm rooms, and at least my second son was a disaster. So they're going to live their life the way they want to. So I decided when they came home, I could play this in one of two ways. I could be on them and be like annoyed all summer, and I could stress them out. I could argue with them about keeping their rooms clean. That was a choice I could make because remember, I'm not making the choice. Like that ship has sailed. They are who they are. I've done what I've done. Or I could make the choice to shut the door and just forget about it and have a peaceful, less stressful summer. And that's exactly what I've done. My advice to you is if you have a messy kid, just keep the door shut and ignore the mess because guess what? In a couple of months, they're going to go back to school and we don't want that time to be gone too fast, but soon enough, you're going to get that clean room back. And when you do, you'll be sad because they're not there. So just do yourself a favor and let them do what they're going to do to their room. Let them keep it messy if they want, but lay some ground rules with them, and lay some ground rules on a couple of the things that are important to you. So for me, one of the things that are important for me, for example, with the room, I said to them, both of them, listen, here's how this is going to go. Whatever you're going to, it's your room, it's your space. Do what you're going to do, but keep your doors shut. I am not going to be coming in and cleaning up after you. I'm not going to be coming in and gathering your dirty clothes nor your dirty dishes. That's on you. If you want to live like a slob, live like a slob. If you want some laundry done, you're going to have to bring it to the laundry room. If you do not, do it on your own, and don't bring me a big pile all at once because I won't be doing it. You will. Secondarily, the one thing I ask is you bring your dirty dishes down to the kitchen when you're done with them, because I'm not trying to get stinky mold and bacteria and whatever else grows on food up in your room. And they both agreed to that. And I feel like it was sort of a happy medium. We met each other in the middle. So there's that. If you have concerns about them going out, I say to my sons when they're leaving, listen, you can spend the night at your friends, do what you're going to do. I'm not going to police you. I just need to know, are you coming home tonight or not? Because here's my thing for me. They're going out and they're going to sleep somewhere. That's totally fine. But I just need to know it in advance, or I need to know when they're coming home, because I don't want to wake up in the morning and panic because they're not there. Right. So for me, that's the happy medium, because they're adults. They're becoming adults at least. And well, they're all adults if they've gone to college. And so they're going to do their thing and make their choices. And I want to give them a level of trust, and I want them to enjoy their summer, but I also want them to do it in a way that causes as little stress to me as possible. So if you can, again, keep communication open and set the ground rules for them, and just let them know what you expect from them. If they're going to have friends over, let them know what you expect. If there's a certain time that they need to start to shut it down and be quiet, if you want them to have things cleaned up or to have the trash taken care of, whatever that looks like for you, make that happen and be very clear about what you want. And I would also encourage you to pick your battles. Ladies, sometimes, at least I find for me, and I'm a type A, I like to be in control, and I like to have things run in a certain way. I sort of feel like I'm the CEO of my house, but the kids are getting older. And I realize that, just like I did when they were toddlers, which was a big thing for me, pick your battles, because some things are just not worth fighting. That's sort of the way I approach this, parenting the kids when they come home as adults. Like, pick your battles. What's the most important things to you? What's going to cause you the most stress? What are things that you're not going to bend on, and lay those out clearly. And the rest of the things, maybe you can meet them where they are and give them some flexibility so that you all have a better and happier summer together. And that's what it's all about, really, is enjoying the summer to the best of your ability with them and making the most of it, right? Remind yourself, and I'm already doing this. And again, we're only 3 weeks in, but remind yourself that it goes by really, really fast. And before you know it, you're going to blink your eye and it's going to be the end of the summer, and they're going to be going back to school, and you'll be sad, right? Like, we feel all the feelings, and the grass is always greener. We're so excited when they come home. We get a little annoyed with the mess and the things that are happening and the busyness of life. And then we're so sad when they leave. So it's like all of the emotions. And remember that it's going by fast, and take the time to enjoy it. And remember those little things that might be driving you bonkers, whether it's an attitude, or them, not wanting to talk in the morning, or being a little disrespectful, or whatever it is. Remember that it's going to go by fast. And those little things that bother you are bothering you because they're in the house, and pretty soon they're going to be back at school. So remember to try to take some of that with a grain of salt, so that you can really enjoy the positives and the good things in this time. I would also encourage you, one other tip that I have that has really been helpful for me is to meet the other thing I want is to have really good quality time with them, like to value the time that we have together, to enjoy our time together. And for me, that's been a little trickier because I have 3 boys. So it can be harder to connect, because they don't necessarily want to go get their nails done with me. I have actually 2 of them now that are shoppers. So that's fun. We do connect when we go shopping together. But I would encourage you to spend quality time with them. And if that feels hard or difficult and you're not sure what that looks like, meet them where they are. Get interested in the things that they're interested in. And it might not be something that you love, but at least you're doing it with them. So, like, for example, on Mother's Day, we all did go to my favorite cafe, which was awesome. That was fun to be there together and to have all of us talking together. But later that day, we went and saw the newest Marvel movie, the Thunderbolts. Now, full disclosure, I am now a Marvel junkie because I started down that path thinking I didn't like those movies because I wanted to connect with my middle son. So it wasn't completely off base for something I'd want to do. On the other hand, it was a beautiful sunny day on Mother's Day, so I'm not sure that's how I would have ideally spent it. But you know what? They were all excited about doing it with me, and it was something that we could do together and talk about after, so it was worth it. And there's another Marvel movie or action movie coming out this summer that maybe wouldn't have been at the top of my list, but you bet I'm counting down the days for it to come out because me and my middle son, Andrew, will be going together. They're all golfing now, so guess what I'm picking up this summer? You guessed it, golf, because it's a way for me to spend time with them. Even if I just go out and play 9 holes or do a scramble, I'm in the cart with them. We're talking, we're laughing, we're having fun. Go to sports events with them. Maybe you do a concert that they like. Heck, offer to take them and a friend or a couple friends to dinner. You might be surprised if you take the time to make connections and do things with them that they enjoy, the fun that there is to be had. And it doesn't have to look like a big grand vacation. Those are fun too, but take time to meet them where they are. I really hope that you find this conversation valuable. I think to navigate this together and talk through the things that we all feel is important. It's important to know that we're not alone, and it's important to learn from each other. I would love to hear from all of you, from things that you're doing or any tips that you have. Email us, DM us, and let us know, because they're things that we can also share with the community. And I want to close with just a really sweet little story that I was on a call today with a friend who actually is on the West Coast, and she has little ones right now, like a year and a half, I think 3-year-old and a maybe 5 or 6-year-old. So she's in the throes of it. And I was telling her, because I had just gotten done with my workout where I was fighting with Andrew over the radio, and I was telling her about it. And I was like, oh my gosh, Ashley, like, I just like, these are first world problems and I'm so glad they're home. But now I'm like, trying to like adjust to a new routine again. Just when I got into my routine of living my life, like kind of like, getting to do my own thing again, they're back and I'm trying to readjust and navigate all these things, and we're button heads. And she was chuckling and she's like, you know what? It's so funny. Like, it's taking me back because I think of like my parents when I would come home from school and how the same things would happen. And they'd be like, where are you going? Like, what are you out so late? And I'd be so annoyed, but like they're worried because they're wondering where I am, if I'm okay. And she's like, and I'm getting on this call, just getting done with my workout and trying to get it done with a 15-month-old who's crawling all over me and laying on my stomach while I'm doing my sit-ups. And I'm like, okay, she's playing with a bag of rice, but at least she's content while I'm doing my workout. And she's like, motherhood is really all about adapting, isn't it? And she's like, in every age, you just have to learn to adapt with your kids around you. And I think that it's so true. We did it when they were toddlers. We did it when they were newborns. We figured out ways to make time for ourselves, and we're still doing it. The beautiful part about the college years are that when they're in school, you do have that special time on your own to really just be as flexible as you want to be with the things you want to do. And then when they come back, you have to learn to adapt to it all over again, just like you did when they were calling all over you when you were toddlers, but in different ways, because you're all in the same shared space again. And she said something that really struck a chord, and I'm wondering if it'll strike a chord with you too. We were talking about just life and health in general from a holistic perspective. And she was saying, that she had read a book that said the root of all cause of all stress and disease is the inability to adapt to what is going on around you. And the cure of disease and stress is learning how to adapt to what is going on around you. And the really beautiful part of being a mom and motherhood, and one of the best lessons we get from it, is that we are the best adapters there are, aren't we? We learn, motherhood teaches us to be as adaptable as anyone could be. We have to learn to roll with the punches. We have to learn to adapt to every situation. We have to overcome and be resilient. And I think that it's just such a gift. It's a gift of motherhood. It's a gift that we got when our kids were little. And it's certainly a gift and a life lesson that we are learning on a day-to-day basis now as they're getting older. And so I want you to remember that when it's a stressful day, or you're feeling sad that they're grown up or leaving, man, what a gift this is. What a ride motherhood is. and how lucky we are to be where we are in life and to start to really enjoy life in this next chapter with adult kids. Ladies, thank you so much for joining me here today. It's been a pleasure as always. I hope that you are following us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok if you prefer to watch. We are on YouTube. Thank you for indulging me with this conversation on my own. I was really missing Dr. Lynn, and I'm sure you will too. I look forward to upcoming episodes with her. Tune into the website at www.lifeafterkids.com for all of our free resources and everything that's going on. Remember that the new book, Life After Kids, Read This How to Rediscover Yourself and Thrive Beyond Motherhood, is coming out soon. We can't wait. And I hope you have a great day and an even better week. Cheers to kicking butt in motherhood and beyond.